open this meeting to hear from the clerk on the clerk and BOCC budget workshop. And I don't know which budgets we're doing at this point.
It's mine.
Are
So we're going to, just want to get them organized so they.
we gonna be doing this also with the sheriff and the assessor and
No.
all the elected?
Not unless you want to do it. I've already done it with them. I haven't done it with the assessor because I didn't have that big of changes. I have talked to the treasurer and I just got done with the sheriff a few minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's something we might want to consider. If we want. Just to offer it to everybody. They may say they don't care. But I doubt it.
Doubt it.
They probably should.
Okay. Yeah. That's just for that. So, I have several budgets that we're gonna go over. The first ones are gonna be current expense budgets. And
Thank you.
we will also look at court records. Current expense. And we'll do court records. Is for that. Elections. Indigent. And district court. So we're gonna start with our current expense fund 1 revenue projection. And we last year created the justice fund, which became fund 19. It used to be in current expense. So those items that were in current expense that are directly related to the justice fund, which is the sheriff, the jail, public defense, and the safety building, they were moved entirely into the justice fund income. The ones that are split split between current expense and justice, and we've made most of those adjustments, and they split current expense at 53.24%, and the justice fund that would get 46.76% of what those items are. So I want to point out to you that the ones that are split are sales tax, revenue sharing, liquor apportionment, payment in lieu of taxes, property tax replacement, and that's it. All the rest of them are either, they're going to all be funds that are just in current expense. They're income that come or generated from current expense, different funds. Okay. So as you look through it, the revenue, FY24 revenue, that is what we project we're going to get. We never do projections on taxes or anything to do with taxes, so they aren't shown there to show them what they're going to be. We also don't do it on like delinquents and stuff like that. So you go all the way down, you'll look at rent income. We expect to get $33,900. To my knowledge, we haven't raised anything this year. Sales tax is one of the split ones. We show we have $418,000. We expect to get revenue sharing $319,000, other or sales for services $3,000. Some of these are very small, but elections reimbursement, we always get election reimbursement money to cover our elections. Direct grants, and that would be like Dan Martinson, who's part of current expense. Liquor apportionment, property tax replacement money, interest, administration fees, clerk auditor fees, administrative surcharges are the money that is income to current expense for the services we provide those other departments. So anything outside of current expense reimburses Fund One to do their payroll, their benefits, their HR, do their insurance things, different things like that. Administrative surcharges, clerk auditor fees, that's what we take in over here. And some stuff, just one of the things, ground rents in there. Charge for copiers, recording fees, licenses, motor vehicle revenues in there. Some of these have changed a little bit. I brought them back up to what true should be. Best estimate, cost collected, prosecutor revenues, sheriff agreements, which, that needs to come out. I need to.
Sheriff agreements.
12,800. I need, oh wait, no, sorry, I'm on the wrong line. Need a paper to guide me. Refunds, $12,800. Indigent reimbursements, you'll notice those went down 50,000 because the indigent fund is no more. So we're not getting any new ones, but we're still collecting on the old ones, and that's where that money goes. Planning and zoning. There's a lot of different line items here for planning and zoning costs. Building permits has went up significantly there. And so overall, from last year to this year, last year we anticipated $3,004. And this year we're anticipating $2,396. And again, that does not cover any sales tax.
What is the commissioner's revenue at 0004, the third page? At the bottom.
Nothing.
I mean, what would that be?
I have not had any in there, so I couldn't tell you. It's a
So-
leftover line item that's been in there, and there's a lot of them that are in there that I don't know what they were used for.
Where would the money show up for, like, the properties that we're renting out or things? Where would that money go?
Ground rent.
Is that
They
ground
could be
rent?
ground rent, or they could be,
You have rent on the front page,
right.
but do you
That
have
could be
anything
in
for
there.
those properties that we lease or sell, or like the sale of the
The sale
Maverick
of the
land?
properties are not budget items. They went
They
into
don't go
totally separate funds. And that's where everything with them is tracked. They do not touch our budget at all.
Okay, how about the rentals, like what we did today?
I
Renting
don't know what,
The lease.
the leases, for,
leases would
Rental
go
property.
under ground leases, and they would be in here.
okay, ground rent, 6,600, 15,000, 6,900.
Yeah, when they come in and pay them, they give the money to Sydney, who does the cash receipt and puts it in the till, and then they distribute it to these funds.
How about the airport when we sell fuel?
It goes into the airport fund 52.
So it doesn't show up here.
No, it'll be on the
Thank you.
airport fund.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Sorry for all
totally
these
separate.
beginner
That's okay.
questions.
They're done.
And with the airport too, are we charging rent on Dan's office and then the police department's office?
No.
So the hangar income for rent would go in the airport budget too?
Yep.
Thank you.
Anything to do with the airport goes in fund 52.
Okay,
Any
I
other
like this
questions
budget
on-
better. It's money in.
We're just getting started. Okay, so the next one I think we'll look at is elections.
Cute.
And elections, standard 5% on the salary increase. Standard benefit increases that we have. I didn't add anything there. Meals and lodging. I did add travel because we charge mileage. We have to run around the county to every precinct during every election and make sure that everything's going right. So we haven't really covered our costs in that. We also send, our elections director, and in past, myself have gone to the election conference, which is in January every year in Boise. So we send them to that. I did not go this past year. And, Savannah did. I upped that budget a bit. We have administration costs, we have election supplies, which I kept the same. This year we have legislature changed and we will not have a March election unless something changes. So that brought it down one election, so that will help us in some funding and especially in election supplies. So this year will be the primary and stuff, so we'll see what happens with that, but generally they're more expensive years. We just have standard equipment maintenance and stuff like that. I did on election wages. This is for our jury people. And I did increase that this year. The Secretary of State's office, designed some election training for everybody. It's approximately 3.5 hours of online training broken up into 42 different segments that we are asking all of our election workers to take. And primarily the chief judges so that they know everything they need to know about elections, and they change every year. So we are incentivizing them to pay them for their time to take the class. We also pay them to come into the training, which is mandatory, and upping their wage by $1 an hour if they've completed the training. And we're still pretty low hours. A lot of counties charge $10 to $12 an hour. Is what they reimburse them for their 14+ hour day. We pay minimum wage $7.50 or $7.25, whatever it is. No. So I also upped postage a little bit because we get more and more. Or no, I didn't actually.
No, you kept.
I didn't. I kept the same. Postage, when you'll see postage on most of these, we transfer groups of money over to our postage machine. We don't do it by department. We budget it and then we just take a department and move it. By the end of the year, we moved it off. And capital outlay would be if we're going to be getting new equipment, which we are getting this year, and which we are budgeted for this year to do. We should be able to cover the software and the equipment. So
What equipment is that?
it's election equipment. It's a new laptop for Savannah when she's building the elections, and then they, I don't know what they do with it, but
We haven't had
and then they
it
come out and they're doing upgrades to the DS200s and the EPO books. It's a normal thing that they do, but this is a bigger upgrade and a new laptop. Ours is ancient,
Yes, to say that she hasn't had a new one in a long time.
very long time. So overall, we went from 145,000 to 155,000. Any questions on elections?
So on that training for the, under the
Yeah.
election wages for the poll workers, that's all poll workers, but mandatory for the
Yep.
judges.
Yeah, mandatory for the judges and optional for the others, but we encourage them to do it because they learn a ton and they're the ones sitting on the line checking people in and
Yeah.
everything.
So what bottom line was like a $10,000 increase, but I didn't see that many changes to equal
Well,
$10,000.
you've got $4,000 just in salary.
Yeah,
And then you have another 3,000 in benefits.
yeah, that's where it was,
Yeah.
benefits.
And then you'll have a bit more down below. Our expenses. 71.8 to 74.25.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That explains that. Any further questions, anybody?
I don't see any right now.
All right, and then we'll move on to court records.
Thank you.
Court Records Department is the staff that I have that works in the primary office upstairs that does civil, criminal. Jury commissioner is in, there, and court collections. So these deputies, we currently, want to get some other notes out of this. Okay.
So we call seeing this, but it's only the wages and whatnot.
It's all of this.
Yeah, that's why I've never
Yep.
seen it on the other side.
Yeah, everything else comes out of district
One
court.
six, yeah.
This is just. Okay, so we currently, have our 4 people, 5 people, 6 people. We have Lisa's a vacancy. Lisa resigned, so I'm in the search for a new criminal clerk. She was my lead criminal clerk. So I have that position in here. I have, Tara, who's also criminal. I have Karen Harshman and Gail Elliott, who are civil, and I have our jury commissioner is not in here. Court collections is in here. Emery,
This is Anne Marie, so.
so she's in here also. So I went from 212,000 to 226,380, and I do have I have some changes in that one. Find my
Looks like you reduced overtime.
Well, that's the question right now. That's the only way they're getting any scanning done. So, let's see. So, yeah, I have. So Emery is just strictly a 5%. Gail is a 5%. Looks like Karen is and Tara is. And Lisa would have been eligible for an increase, but she left, so we'll take her back down to what I can get them at, probably. 1913 or well, it'll be 2009 now, probably somewhere right around there for our new position. I think I budgeted 2063. So, yeah, so I didn't add any, so I wanted to make sure I didn't have any in there. Yeah, so overtime right now I have it 600. I was hoping we'd get more scanning done, but we haven't. They're doing it as they can during the day, but being short-staffed is impossible. So, then I updated the budget, for all the benefits, which resulted in quite a lot. Where's that?
Medical insurance is a big
Medical
jump.
is the huge one. So when I have an open position, I have to budget for a family. That's what makes the difference.
And are you budgeting at last year's numbers? Or are you looking at that 9% increase that we've been?
Ours, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to. So everything in there is this year current, as well as workman's comp figures. So, the one item that you see never has anything in there is the state unemployment fund. You'll see that in every budget. We have been blessed with not having a lot of unemployment claims, which is where that goes. And so we're in a pool with everybody else. And if we go over that pool, then we'll have to start paying that. So it's basically budgeting for the what if.
What if?
You have to, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's really all there is in this budget. Is wages.
So there's a big increase and it's because of the 5% and then budgeting for replacing with the family and.
Yeah, and it's really not that big, from 112 to 141 total. Oops, wrong line. Sorry, wrong line. 325 to 368, it's like. Medical is the offer.
Medical's huge. Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, and then, oh, that one. Okay, then, the clerk, all the people out here except for Savannah, well, she's half in there. She's half elections and half recorded, so, but she's paid out of elections because we get reimbursed for that. So on this one.
You.
And this one, 5%. Where I have the biggest change, you'll notice we go from 127 to 175, 720. That is because Melissa's position, the payroll or accounts payable clerk, has always been paid out of indigent. The indigent fund was defunded. We are not able to levy for that as of March of 22. So we've been drawing that down. I don't have enough left in there to continue to pay her out of that, so I moved her where she should have been all along. And that was back into current expense. So she's moved back into there, and really that's the only thing other than the
COLA.
COLA. Yeah, so
Veterans Services doesn't have prior.
they did not have a budget. They were an indigent as well.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I've
Yeah, they
moved
were.
them also. And we've had a request by the veteran service manager over in Coeur d'Alene that we have so many people that are coming in. He was doing it once a month at the VA, and now they've asked for twice a month. So 2 days a month, 2 Thursdays, Dan will be going down to Osborne to the Osborne VFW and helping vets, and it goes good. I hear a lot of good things about the help that they receive down there. And I have one merit because I have Timmy on a probation, so I'm adjusting her wage here after in the next year, so I've included that. in
I
this
say it
as well.
didn't take you long to get on probation.
He's doing fabulous. Okay, so anyway, that impacted,
So Sydney
All
comes
the-
out of this too.
No,
No.
she comes out.
She's
She's
out
out
of
of
the
the
SEC.
BOCC.
Yep, the only ones out of this are Timmy, Melissa now, Tammy, Dan. That's all.
Part of,
No, Savannah's all paid out of
She's
elections,
all
so
in
we get it
elections.
back. Most of it. We don't get everything back when we get part of it. So if that was ever to defund for whatever reason, we would have to come back on your team.
so what would capital expenses be for this department?
For the clerk,
Just so an idea of what.
well, it could be, I don't know, maybe new computers, could be,
What's the definition for cat that makes?
5,000.
5,000?
And you can't use it for anything but. So you can't use capital expense
On any.
budget on wages or to fund something else. And that also is a trigger that it must be put into inventory
Gotcha.
and tracked and, depreciation and stuff.
Okay.
So, yep.
You did raise office supplies, which obviously are costing more.
Lots of people
Papers. is-
have them. Paper has gone insane, and I don't even know if that's gonna cover it, but
Okay,
that's kind of where we're at.
yeah, questions or thoughts or comments or?
at this point. Which we just going on. What's new development?
That is BJ's support. So anytime he comes down here and helps us with configuration things, like just now, we had Angela leave. We went from Windows 7 to a Windows 10 computer. We had to switch all the accesses around for Timmy instead of Angela. So BJ does all those things for us. And whenever there's problems with printers or whatever, and every department has that. We have it in the sheriff's department too, but it's Max, or what's his name? Zach, that does it over there.
Max?
No.
No,
Oh, it is.
no.
Okay,
Do we have the BOCC or just?
no, I'm not
clerks?
over the BOCC, so I didn't include it, but I can certainly give it to you. I just don't have any copies. I only did my
I was just looking at the
departments,
agenda,
but
so didn't know
I
how
have
was-
it. If you'd like to look at it, and we could probably have Sydney make copies if you'd like them. There's not, 5% on salaries, benefits are propagated across the board. It looks like Sydney is a joint. Right, I'd have to look, I have it in here for medical and stuff. That's really where the change is on this one. So medical last year, we
Well, there
were
has been some guy come.
25,000, and I'd have to look at last year's book, but this year we have 2 singles and 2 joints for medical and 1 single and 3 joint for dental. So that's where that increase comes from. 'Cause I think. Yeah, I don't know what those other guys have. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But, other changes in here. Meals and lodging, Jeff asked me to increase that from $1,793 to $4,800.
Is that for the,
So you guys can all go to all
I see.
3 conferences.
For conferences.
Conferences. And I upped registrations, same reason. Travel, from 1,600 to 3,000, same reason. Office supplies from 750 to 1,000. You asked for 1,500. When I looked them over, it looked like we could just go with 1,000 and probably make it.
Okay.
You guys can change that later if you want. I reduced the telephone costs. Legal advertising and legal notices, I left at $100 because we don't really use those in that budget much. Postage stayed the same and office equipment stayed the same, and there's no capital. We can look at it if you like.
Well, because just when I read the agenda, I thought
Yeah.
it said BOCC slash clerks, so I was like,
Oh,
wasn't sure which
you
one.
guys meeting with me, that's what that meant.
okay,
Okay,
do you have any more?
I do,
I was gonna say, you still got files.
I do.
Let me know where you
Put
all.
this one back. Okay. I mean, I have them, I have all of Fund 1 here, I don't. have the others. I didn't bring the other back up. Okay. So, and that one wasn't appropriate to bring. Where'd my other ones go? Thought I just signed.
Just
Current-
report?
Oh, yeah, that's them. No,
No, that's court records, so we don't have just
I'm
report
looking
yet, or
yeah, where are those? Did it? Oh, here they are. District Court and Indigent. Yeah, that's the one. we need. So we'll go over Indigent first, it's probably the simplest. Like I said, this is the one that went away. There was money to draw down, so last year I drew down what I could to pay, Melissa in that fund, as well as some other things. And this year I don't have enough left in there to do that, so. This fund, although it can't levy anymore, it still will get tax dollars levied to it from possibly taxes, past years that haven't been paid, that kind of thing. So So there's very little that's going into it. This year, for example, we got $4,000 in it. This used to be one of our biggest levying funds with the jail and roads. Interest will go in there because of that. AG replacement will still get indigent reimbursement. So when somebody pays their medical loans off, this is where they go. And then we can use that money for anything because it can be used for an expense. So then that's all the revenue for that fund. And then on the actual fund itself, I'm betting veterans expenses. So Dan will be going to veterans training for a week later in August. So I'll have some miscellaneous things that will come up with that, I'm sure, like parking at the airport or whatever. They pay for his travel, they pay for his meals, but there'll be others that are outside of the conference. So that will cover that kind of thing. And that always also will cover some expenses if he has something to do down at Osborne. He brings donuts, whatever. Usually they pay for them out of their pocket. I don't think that's right. So that's what that's left there for. The next item that's coming out of there is some office supplies. Most of those will also be, they could be any kind of office supply that have to do with indigent. So we still have to mail out invoices and stuff for everybody that owes us money. We do it on a quarterly basis, so that will help cover those as well as the postage. We have a copier upstairs that is used by myself now and probation services. It used to always come out of indigent and split with probation services. I'm going to leave it there until the money's gone because then it's going to have to come to my budget. Draw it down. And then back in the back, this is going to prepare you for next year because we'll be out of money next year, probably at the end of the year. We still are required to provide burial for paupers, food, rent, gas, utilities, transportation, types of things for indigent people. My goal is normally to use our Christian Aid Fund for that, which we don't put any money into. The churches send me checks and we put that money in there. And that helps us to help people, get on with life. So, but that once this indigent money is gone, those expenses will need to move to current expense. So they'll probably go under county general. They might go under the clerk. I haven't really decided yet. They could go under even. They probably will go under the clerk.
So we can't collect taxes for them anymore.
No taxes, none. But if we move them,
And
we could, because then they would be in a different fund that would be collecting taxes, but we have enough in there to cover it. Like right now, we're at $7,900 for burial, but I know I just had 2 of them come through that haven't been billed. So we have Shoshone Funeral Home and Hodges Funeral Home down in St. Mary's under contract with us to do the cremations for $1,400 a piece. Anything above that, the family has to pay for. Yeah, so you can see like 5% for food, gas, rent, utilities, transportation. That's because I get it all out of Christian Aid where I can. And then we have office equipment, $1,750. And that's in case we need something and we don't have budget somewhere else and it's supporting these services.
that have to move into future budgets as well.
It will, well, we'll see. It depends on what it's for, I guess, because these are, like right now, Anne Marie does indigent, Anne Marie does court. She only gets paid out of court, but she has to have a totally separate computer arts terminal and scanner to do the indigent thing. So it's, it depends on where I put it. But that's different equipment, so yeah. Okay, and then the last one is district court.
Thank you.
And also as its own income. District court is comprised of three funds. It's district court that reports to me, and it's probation services and like misdemeanor and juvenile that report to Mike Smith to you. So this is part of your budget as well as mine that's next. So revenue wise, you can kind of see just by looking at them, like misdemeanor probation. They expect to get $10,000 in funds this year on the 77 one, and that's a grant thing that they get. And then there's a juvenile block grant that they get, they'll get 24,000. They get part of liquor apportionment. They get part of capital improvement. I don't know what all that is. Most of these are coming out of court fines and fees. And it's the distribution at the state level. We don't decide where they go. District court fees, magistrate court fines. These are things that we collect upstairs. Court costs, community service. That's probation services. We have juvenile offender fee, cigarette and tobacco tax, lottery tax, and that's what makes it up. They also get property tax they're allowed to levy, but we don't. And then on our expense side, we have the same people that we had before. However, on the budget side, I needed to up the medical, for family. So that's what that's made up of. And I think did I pull that up, sir? Report, oh, I was gonna have one for Lisa, but she's not there, so. I don't have them. Oh wait, I must have put the wrong one. So I do have a merit for Deborah Hammerberg. She's going to be longevity race. So she will get one.
That under the law clerk, under salary.
Yeah. Yep. And that's it. So, no, not the law clerk. No, the law clerk is Scott.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forget about him.
Scott Lumsden. We get reimbursement from Benoit and Kootenai for part of his services. He's Judge Duggan's law clerk.
Okay.
He resides in Kootenai County. He used to be here in that little tiny office. So we do get reimbursed for part of that, not all of it, as well as benefits. The two deputies in there are Karen, Rochelle and Deborah, and they are Judge Duggan and Judge Oxendine's clerks, and then the jury commissioner. Okay, and then I put in overtime here as well because that's where they're doing scanning also. Because these girls do a lot of the scanning, so I put more in that one. Deborah's been coming in on the weekends. I also have holidays worked. We don't normally have people work holidays, but when you guys authorize an administrative day, such as the day after Thanksgiving, they still have to hold court that day for inmates because they have to be seen. So the court clerk comes in that day and works with the judge to get prepared for it. So that's what that's for. Generally, they take comp time, so they don't charge me, but they are charging on the scanning. Okay, and then I have basic benefits. And then let's see, I upped office supplies and I reduced telephone because we reduced our telephone costs by quite a lot. Okay. Professional services. This is a huge thing. And this is for examinations of people that the judge orders and then evaluation to see if they're competent to stand trial, or maybe they already Maybe it's something else. It's not just competent to same child for something, but maybe it's for something else, you know. They could do, psychosexual evaluations and stuff like that. Those things are extremely expensive. You'll notice that every year they've gone up, and now that we're out of the pandemic and courts resolved again, and we're getting a lot more criminals. I don't
We've
know where
already
that's gonna end up.
200% this year.
Yeah. And I raised it from 73 to 10 last year, thinking, oh, surely it'll go down. Well, it didn't.
Yeah.
And they're court ordered, so there's not a thing you can do about it. If they are ordered by or requested by the public defender, I put them under the public defense. But 90% of them are not. So that's the biggest markup right there. Copier rental. That has gone down because we're gonna purchase the copiers, and this is in every budget. They're shown as a capital outlay, under, where did I put those? They're under office equipment. Where did I put those?
Looks like an empty line that
Yeah,
just shows up.
because I have two. I have one in the judges area, on both floors. And then no, I don't either. I have one in magistrate Rochelle's area, and I have one in court records. So I have two of them that we'd be purchasing and then paying.
Which is saving us a lot of money getting out of those leases.
Over time. This year it's
Yeah.
costing us a lot of money.
Yeah, but over time, we're gonna get a lot better off.
And there's still a few that will be under leash for a while. Sheriff's office, prosecutors. And roads.
What is the building and grounds line item for and under this court?
Buildings and grounds is the cost, of the Supreme Court using our facility.
Oh,
It's just a straight thing, and that's kind of what we move the money every year. We're supporting them. Or
Do you have to pay for them? Is that what?
they pay us.
Oh, they pay us. Okay.
Well, we have to, they don't really, there's really no money switching hands, but, it's a budget item similar to admin fees that we're saying, hey, you have to pay for this, but they really don't, but.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, that's a budgeted thing. Administrative costs is the same kind of thing I told you that we do for everything, salary and whatnot. It's moved at the end of the year.
what's library cover?
The library covers all our Westlaw subscriptions,
I see
The
that's
electronics that they
jumped
use now.
and that went up because we needed to put the one to replace our library, so the second kiosk upstairs.
Is this where the library books were coming from
We
before?
haven't updated the books in years. I don't know where they came from originally. I'm sure they probably did. But it also pays for, our kiosk terminal that we have on the desk up there that is different than the other one that we just added. And the subscriptions to those. And then we get Idaho Code, we get hard copy updates for those, and we're on the schedule for those, so that comes out of here as well. And the prosecutor has similar stuff too.
Just because somebody will ask me, what is judge's discretionary expenses?
Well, like last year, what did I use those for? I didn't use those last year. I used them a couple years ago, but we added, like, we painted the offices of the judges. That came under, capital expenditures. If the judge say wanted a new chair and I don't have it in my budget, get a new chair using that one.
What about when we put more secure doors on or something? Did we do that out of capital or
More secure doors. We haven't done it.
a while back, it's been a
When I've
long
been
time.
here,
Okay, it was
yeah, I
probably
know.
before you.
It probably would have come out of capital or depending on how much it costs. Like we used these two funds, well, really, we did all of capital last year when Judge Duggan moved upstairs and we did a remodel to seal off the two doors that were going into her office. We also cleaned drapes in her office because it wasn't in the budget to do that. We did it in her office. We painted it. We did Keisha's office. She came in that same year. So we did some things that we hadn't budgeted for because they haven't been done. Well,
Like the jury expenses, the total actual for 2022 was 8,000, and then we got 16,000. Is there?
So
Do we have to budget higher?
yeah, we didn't have any court for
Oh, that's
2.5 years, so
That's right.
things went way down
Yeah,
and now they've come back up
same with bailiff too.
and
yeah,
and we're having more and more and more. And again, we don't pay them a lot either.
Mhm.
And, so yeah, that's what that is. The more court you have, the more jury people you have to pay. That's what that line item is for. Bailiff, same thing.
But overall, it looks like 10-12% increase in the bottom line on that budget. but
10.3.
There's not much we have any say over. Hmm.
It kind of is what it is. The hardest thing to predict is the examinations.
Yeah.
Both my budgets are crazy. But that public defense, I did not bring down because it's part of justice, but actually, I think I happen to have it. Okay. So, so yeah, designated mental exams under that is at 13,537, 90%. I budgeted 15, I have to 18, which probably isn't gonna be enough. But the good thing about that, it's our last year with public defense, and then folks can take it over. That's a big budget.
Okay.
But that public defender's budget is going from 614 to 662,000, and that's because I had that $50,000 for Chris Schwartz's public defender contract with Merca. I cut where I could, but I can't cut that. And so one of the things that I do want to do on the district court budget with the capital funds is to purchase chairs without arms for the sheriffs when they're in trial, whenever they have to come in and they have to sit there, they don't fit in any of the chairs that we have.
oh,
Because
yeah,
they're guns and stuff. So, Jan Higdon bought some books from the library upstairs and gave me $100 donation, which I deposited in, our donation, or what did I put
we have a
that?
line item, don't we?
I have a line item, I put it somewhere. I called it, what did I call that? Yeah, I can't remember, I'll have to look. Oh, it's revenue. I'm looking at expense. It's not numbers. Let's see, sale of county property, no, I didn't put it there. Where did I put that?
Other revenue?
Maybe. Improvement. Okay, improvement. Oh, it's not gonna be on my list anyway, because that's an old revenue sheet. I didn't put it this one.
Okay.
So I would use that money for it, and then I would use, capital, so we can get something for them. They're in there a lot. And they just don't fit and then they get spun up and you don't want any accidents happening.
Okay. Questions, comments, thoughts? That's a lot.
Yep, I do have Justice here if you wanted to look at or hear about any of it, but I don't have that on the agenda, so.
I guess we better wait since it's not on the agenda. I
And
will,
I'm not scheduling, meetings with all departments. I'm only scheduling with the ones that have significant change, that I could see. So most of them came in pretty close, you know, they are what they are. But one big thing that's gonna impact the county is our ICRIM. They increased from $2,500 deductible to $5,000 deductible on all claims. So that's huge.
Yeah.
We were budgeting $7,000 a year.
Hmm.
So I upped it to, I think, 20,000 because that's only 4 claims.
yeah,
And right now I know of 2,
Is that because of our claim history?
they upped all their prices. Yeah,
it's the.
it's just the
economy.
cost
Yeah.
anymore, I guess, but that seemed like a whole lot of money to me, but
Well, let me open it up for public comment. Question.
Mr. Clerk, a lot, Clerk, why is the budget and the actuals so much out of whack?
because we get reimbursed, we pay it all, and then we get reimbursed, from Benoit and Kootenai.
On your income?
It is a reimbursement. Well, it should be here somewhere. I don't see it here. I'll have to get back to you.
Okay, other questions?
Yeah, just a little clarification. Medical insurance is paid monthly,
Yes,
dental monthly,
yes.
workers' comp quarterly.
I don't know. I'd have to ask Tammy when that's paid.
Life insurance monthly.
I think we
believe so.
signed those, don't we, every month?
It seems like she brings in a monthly thing for the workers' comp too.
Workers' comp is monthly.
I
I'm
would
not
have to
sure.
check on that.
We'll have to double check on those.
That all?
Yep.
Okay,
Oh, except for the statement. The worksheets haven't been done after the 17th of May. I had no department request on. The deadline was the 15th.
And those are due to me by that date. Those are all my budgets and I hadn't had a chance to do any of my budgets at that point because I was short staffed and doing the other jobs. They did not get done. They're not due to the commissioners on that date. They're due to me from the commissioners and other departments.
okay. Thank you for information overload. A lot of learning. I'll probably come back with some questions when I catch you not doing. I'll just
We only have
inter-
next week. I
I'll
mean, I
just
have it
interfere.
too, so we only have next week, so.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.